Hello fellow humans, how are you doing? Today I'm going to make a vlog about a new project that I just finished and I wanted to share with you. And as an introduction, first of all, what I really wanted to do is I really liked the Unreal Mannequin. It has the perfect heroic proportions. It has looks like a superhero, and I wanted to do something superhero-y. So not a superhero, but something superhero-y, something close to superhero. So I decided to make golems. And for the golems, as you know, I love elemental stuff. Elements such as fire, air, water, all that stuff. I like that kind of stuff, so I decided to make a bunch of elements. And then it kind of flew off the rails and I decided to make more of them, and I'm going to show you that stuff today and now. So first of all, I started with a different one, but this is the one I'm going to show you first. This is air. And as you can see, I made two versions. Obviously air is invisible, so it looks like vapor or trail. These are all super editable, and some of them have have all the settings together, so when you change one color everything changes, and some of these guys have different settings. This is one of them because it's different layers of smoke. So it can be poisonous gas, it could be pollution, it could be clouds like this one, or air. Oh God, my back is killing me. So yes, it could be any of those things. But first, you have to layer. I explained all of that stuff in the tutorial, but for now, let's just move on because I don't want to take forever. Showing you this stuff. So I made one with just air and another one with thunderstorm raging inside his insides. So there is several types of lightnings coming on his arms and legs and his torso, and it's releasing smoke or whatever. So as you can see, it's not exactly the same as the Unreal Mannequin. It's slightly different. That's because I sculpted it from scratch. I just copied the proportions, which you can see better here. So this is fire, and as you can see, it comes decorated and non-decorated, and the fire can be changed in color. Unfortunately, it's not that easy because the fire has one set of colors and the body has another set of colors, but you can change there's controls. So each one of these guys have controls. Some are more easily editable than others. This one, for example, you can change the shimmering, the stuff, the shimmering on his body, those little cloudy thingies. You can change the amount of light around, bending around him. You can change a bunch of stuff, and of course the color of the flames and the amount of flames. You can change those stuff too. But for now, just know that I offer you options with these things, as well as as this one. I'm sure you're wondering, if isn't this expensive? And yes, unfortunately it is. However, what you can actually do is I offer several types of particles and several types of materials for expensive things, such as this one. And for example, I do offer a bunch of cheap particles with what is it called? Dither temporal AA, which, by the way, the body, I don't know if you can see through the YouTube compression, the body has some little are not artifacts, I wouldn't call them that, but it has like a little bit of dithering. That's why because the body is actually cheap. I don't know if you will be able to see it. Yeah, it doesn't show very well. Oh, there you go. You can see right there in the face a little bit. So yeah, the ice, excuse me, that's because we're going to see the ice in a little bit. So yeah, the the particles, there's options except for the fire and similar particles, magic maybe. There is this thing, it's actually made with additive particles, additive blending mode, so it's not gonna be very easy to make cheap. This one's, for example, yes, the base is cheap, but the fire itself, it's kind of expensive. That's the best I could do. I've tried to make cheap fire particles, or firelets as I like to call them. Just not having it. It just looks horrible. Looks cheap and crappy. Unfortunately, this is the best we can do with fire. You're welcome to try, and if you do, please let me know in the comments down below if you find a way to make this fire cheaper, because that's the best I could do. Let's move on with ice, which this one I was kind of worried about explaining to you because it's a little bit complicated, because this ice isn't expensive at all, and in fact I can show you it's super cheap. And the way I accomplished it is just with a probe, and it just being it takes the 360 degrees image, you know, and then you refract it or distort it with nodes. And there it looks like actual ice. There's actually expensive ice, just like with the smoke particles, which by the way this one has, and that's the most expensive part of this thing. It's those smoke particles coming out of his body, but you can actually change those for cheap particles, and yes, you'll have to do some changes to make them look a little bit better, because if you just exchange one for the other, the other AAA, the cheap particles, cheap smoke, it kind of comes off as a little bit too faint, so you have to bump up the opacity. I explained all of that in the tutorial, by the way, in case you're wondering. So yes, this thing has a tutorial. So yeah, there is options for you, so you don't have to worry about it. And yeah, this is a very cheap ice. There is, just like there is cheap smoke, there's also expensive ice. It looks better than this, I assure you. It does not require much settings, really. It doesn't need tweaking or anything. You just slap the material on top of this character and that's it. Unfortunately, the problem with that is that it's gonna be super expensive and everything is going to be looking pink. We don't want that. Let's move on to the next one, which is nature, which also comes in a decorated variety, and that's possible with most of these guys. There's decorations that you, even though I didn't explicitly make that version here for this asset pack, because you probably wouldn't be able to download it. It's gonna be, I can't put everything I think of in here. There's already 60 versions, 60 variants of this thing that I included this in this pack. You can make even more. The sky is the limit, really. But first of all, it's gonna be some of them just look bad. That's why I included the ones that look the coolest and the best, that I would be proud to see in a game of yours. But there's stuff that I don't think that looks that looks good and does not resonate with my aesthetics or my sense of aesthetics. So I didn't include it here, also to save space, because obviously if I make everything I could think of, every single thing that I can imagine, we're just not going to be able to finish this thing. And also, uh, it's going to drive the file size way up. That said, if this asset pack sells, and if people are buying this thing, I don't want all of you to have the same thing. So I'm going to be updating this thing if it sells. If there's like 3 people who bought it, why bother, right? So let's move on. There is mossy variants as well, and there is ones with no moss, and that's also the only ones that actually have comes with moss are the nature, the earth and the stone, but you can technically put it on anything, and you can actually make this one. If you know what you're doing, you can actually put that moss on this thing and modify it so it's actually white, so it looks like snow, because the moss it's put on top, it's only on the surface, so it builds up in on the top layers. I'll show you in a little bit. For now, let's move on to the muscle one. This one is just the gory version, and I actually put the light behind him so you can see it looks like a meat bag. So there is some really nice, really decent SSS, so subsurface scattering. Looks really cool. Still has no face because there is a ton of skinned alive people in asset packs. So this one just happens to not have a face because it's a golem. It's an abstract kind of concept. The whole point of this thing is to. Anyhow, let's move on. I feel like I'm trying to explain a joke. So here are the stone ones, and right away you can already see there's the mossy one. Let me show you his butt. As you can see, there is moss buildup just in the areas that would actually, except for the palms of the hands, but I wanted them to have like in areas where there would be a lot of, what do you call that thing? Ambient occlusion. Jesus Christ, I can't talk today. So it's built up in areas with where there's ambient occlusion, and on top. So it's a double whammy. So that's why he has on the hands. Unfortunately, that doesn't work very well for snow. But again, I mean, who's gonna check? And you can explain it away as, oh, he touched snow. I don't know. So there is stone decorated as well. You can make those decorations. You can customize them. You can make them matte, dielectric. You can make them metallic, and you can make them glowy like this. It's pretty versatile, and you can even put it on top of the muscle guys. Except I would actually need to modify the master material. Let's move on. There is ones with crystals, which also kind of, I don't know if you can tell, it kind of has this, it reflects, it's also cheap, by the way, super cheap. Whoops. It's also very cheap. And like I said, I decided specifically to make fire and smoke better looking here, but you have the option. You can actually make the fire and the smoke cheap. The smoke cheaper. The fire, there's no way in hell you can make fire look decent. There's arm cannons, which if you want to make like some throwaway enemy or NPC or something like that, you can shoot through his hand. It's also included, and each one of these guys, like for example the nature one, the fire, all of them, they all have their own thematic version of the arm cannon. So it comes attached to it is part of the thing. It is part of the of each one of these guys. Not all of them have customized version, but 80% of them have special arm cannon that you can customize with the actual skin. So there is the vanilla stone. There is one that was set on fire, and by the way, the fire and the stone, fire and brimstone, they are the same, one and the same. And depending on how much you make it glow, you can actually either make just glowy rock, or like this one. This one is slightly less glowier. And oh my god, I'm sorry about that. So yeah, there is runic golems, so with runes, really cool. This one is a last second edition. Not to say last second edition as in I just rushed it. No, I took my time doing it. But actually it wasn't last minute edition. It was just last minute idea, because I had already like made sketches and actual like ideas. I grounded the ideas of each one of these golems. I had already, okay, so this one is going to look like this, that one is going to look like that. This one, I was doing the stone one and I was like, oh dude, wouldn't it be really cool if it actually had like stone tattoos, like carved on in the stone. So I was like, oh hell yeah, we need to add this. Hold on. I actually need to wipe my mouth. It's not that fun to have a bushy beard. Anywho, so there is magic, there is runes, excuse me, health, fire, and air. In case you don't want to even use that one expensive one, the air one, there's an even simpler version. This is it. And again, you can in fact make the smoke, and I think in theory you could make this one as well, but it wouldn't look that good because this one is kind of like fire. It's magic. So, and actually you can make the, I think I said it, the fire, you can make it out of, what is it, dither temporal AA. Again, it's not gonna look good at all, but there's that option you have. So let's move on. Yeah, let's look at the attachments. Now let's take a look at the attachments from now. This is just a friendly reminder that we are going to be adding stuff as time progresses. So it's not the end all and be all. We are going to adding new stuff as soon as I see this thing selling. I don't plan to leave it alone, just like the dungeon. If I see that thing selling, I keep updating them. And that's a thing that I'm pretty sure you're beginning to see, because I just added fog to the cemetery, because it didn't have any fog, and that's one of my biggest regrets with that one. So I was like, yo, this needs fog. Unfortunately, yeah, we don't have the time, or I didn't want to learn, so just didn't add any fog. And then I learned to make it for the actually the weapon pack, and then I made the dungeon pack, and that's where I actually made the fog, and I was like, yo, this needs to happen in the cemetery one, so I decided to add it. And by the way, if you wanted some what is it, Lumiere, no, it's Luma, hold on, what is it called? Oh, it doesn't have it here because this is 4.27. Lumer. I don't use it too much, so that's why I can't remember. Um, well, yeah, the one with ray traced lighting. Yeah, that one. Lumiere. I forgot the name. Uh, um, I I included that lighting system in the Japanese. I used to call it onsen, but then I realized it doesn't look like an onsen at all. So Japanese house would be a more accurate way to describe it. It was going to be an onsen, and I called it internally an onsen. It's not an onsen. I'm sorry about that. Anywho, moving on. So yeah, each one of these guys, I made plasma casters. You can put one or both. So each one of these plasma casters, they all come in. There are several different versions, and in fact, some of them can be colorized, and some of them can be customized in other ways. Like you can change the color of the lighty thing. There is some of that are what do you call that thing? That are have filigree and all that stuff. So yeah, there are several options even for the little attachments. Which, by the way, there are several there as well. So there are several heartsies. Well, Iron Man hearts. There's hats, top hats, which you can switch the color of, and there's even a burlap. Oh my god, damn it. Okay, there we go. There's even a burlap one. All of them are dirty because, yeah, why not? There's shields, 3 types of shields. There is, well, 4 if you want to count the Ember E one. There is iron, there is brass. Both of them are oxidized. It's not oxidized, rusted. Both of them are rusted. There is a glowing, like a red hot one. There is futuristic shields. Of course there are. They glow. You can change the color of the force field. And if you want to get into, like, that's only, you can change the color just quickly. Just go into the material instance, double click it, and change the color to whatever you want. Or you can go inside the master material and you can customize it further. Like, it doesn't have to have those doesn't have to have those little, what is it, hexagons? 1, 2, 3, yeah. Doesn't have to. I'm sorry. It doesn't have to have those hexagons there. It can have anything else. If you have the texture, you can just slap it in there, or just you can get rid of it altogether. I just thought it would look cool, so yeah. What else? There's crowns. In case you want a king, there's different types of crowns. There's one for black kings. There's one for a silver king. It would be maybe, because usually the expensive ones are the gold ones, right? So the silver ones would be for a cheap king. I don't know. So yeah, there's silver crowns, there's golden. There you can even change the color of the stone in there. It doesn't have to be green or red. It doesn't. It's not for all of them. Like these aren't. You can change the color of the gold. You can only change the color of the. I mean, in theory, you could actually do whatever you want because basically, yeah, there is several. What do you call those things? There is several different uh, skins, so you can maybe take elements from one to put them on the other. Like for example, in these ones, I am actually using the metal layer for the for the lighting up of the decorated of the decoration. So it doesn't really have to be or this one, like I told you, you could use it, you could modify it slightly. It doesn't take too much talent. You could just use it for snow. I didn't teach that in the tutorial because that's a thing that I just thought about. But yeah, I mean, it's not that hard. It's pretty simple. So let's move on. And yes, there's demons, because why not? Unfortunately, now they don't have a face, but still, I mean, they look cool. You can change the tattoos. I included several tattoos that I actually had the idea in the during the tutorial, so I just paused it and went to make some of these. So yeah, and again, I'm using the same decoration that I made specifically for the stone and the elemental ones. Just thought it would look cool here as a tattoo. And by the way, that tail, yeah, it wiggles. That's where you are supposed to use the shields, but again, you can use them anywhere. And I'll show you another character that may benefit from one of these futuristic shields. Like I said, there's two types of, or I didn't say it, there's two types of arm cannon. So one is that one that is made out of stone. It's organic. There's even one for the earth one. It's made out of earth. But there's also this one that is made out of metal and looks really cool. There is glowy cybernetic enhancements for this guy. There's glow cybernetic enhancements. There is a burning demon, because of course we need one. Come on. So there is also albino demon with stitches, and you can, if you really loved the stitches, it doesn't have to be on the albino one, by the way. I'm just saying it could be on any other color because you can change the color of the demon. So it can be green or blue, or have tiger stripes, or be black, or have be white with. Oh my god, it's so annoying. Sorry about that. Or have reddish spots that look like irritation, like some kind of eczema. So yeah, you have options. Next category is the robots. And this one I'm also super proud of. Super proud of these guys. Really cool. And you can change the color of the... This is all one skin, by the way. You can change the color of the of the base. You can change the color of the swirls, of the decoration. You can change the color even of the little rivets. I don't know what to call them. The nuts. You can change. That sounds horrible. You can change the color of its nuts, as you can see, and you can make it metal, dielectric, or something in between. You can, like for example, this one has a dielectric base with golden swirls, and this one is copper swirls over a metallic base, and this one is both dielectric, both the swirls and the base. Oh, and there's another even further. There's another color. You can change the color of the under armor, I call it. So I don't know if you can tell with this one. Oh, there you go. You can, between the legs, between the thigh and the calf pieces, you can see the base. So this one is, for example, just pure copper. Some of these are silver, some of them are black. Yeah. And maybe you're not into Victorian robots. Well, there's medieval ones, which, yeah, take that. Really cool. This one's I didn't have much ideas. I mean, like there is brass, there is iron, that's it. Maybe you could change a little bit, like tint this one, the brass one, into something more closer to copper, but I mean there isn't a lot you can do with these. That's why I just made 4, because medieval times were boring. Fight me. I just don't like medieval stuff. But you're free to create new things with this asset pack because it has way too many options. Even though this one doesn't have many, the medieval one. Let's move on to the futuristic ones. God damn, this is the one that I went crazy with. So, I mean, it's just never ending. And I'm super proud of each and one of them, each and every one of them. This one, by the way, the Barbie one, I came up with it like way before the release of the movie, and I wasn't paying attention. I didn't even know they were making a Barbie movie. I just had the idea. Oh yeah, we should make a pink one, a Barbie one. Has nothing to do with the movie. I just made so many of them that by accident I included one that was related to something that is in the news now. So there's a purple one, there's a glitchy ghost. I don't know if you can tell. Actually, hold on, let me see if I can. There we go. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Damn it. Yeah, I don't know if you can see from close inspection. You can see his eyes behind that thing. It's just an illusion, by the way. If you've seen me work on this thing, I made that kind of like an illusion. There is Blue, Error 404, Goldie. They all have funny names because I suck at naming things. For Mr. Forbidden. There is real life jobs, which, for example, Biohazard guy, I'm sure those exist. You can make it white if you want. You can change the color of the rivets, of the shoulder and leg rivets and all that stuff. Like you can see the red one has them metallic. You can change the color of the base. There's the little thingy on the chest, on the sides of the head, and the arms here. Those are actually a different color. You can give it a different color, as you can see with Mr. Goldie. You can make it metallic, dielectric, whatever you want. There is a fireman, there is a medic, there is a paramedic, and I forgot to make a cop, but I will include one in the next update if I remember. Because yeah, you can actually make whatever you want. There's a military guy, which by the way I made several numbers for his chest. So there's 1 through 10 in case you want to add numbers. You want to number them. There's graphics. There's tons of graphics here. There's a radioactive symbol. There's even a skull. And there is another face, like full face mask. Again, it does have up to a certain angle. It kind of looks realistic and cool. You can change the color of the light inside. And you can change the... hold on. Okay, sorry about that. A friend wanted to chat, so... Alright, so I'm back, and I forgot I lost my train of thought, actually. Hold on. Okay, so I was talking about these guys, which luckily this is the last part of this thing. So, yeah, you can change the color of pretty much anything. Pretty much anything you can change the color of. The light, as you can see, they all have different color light. You can change the... you can... Oh, I forgot. You can also add scratches. It has his butt scratched. So you can add scratches. You can add scratches. And obviously the underlying metal, I think it could be... I don't remember if you can change the color. Like maybe you want some copper in down there, and it doesn't have that option. I don't remember. Actually, let me actually check it out. His name is Barricade, by the way. Let me check it out. Rabbit face. Smash. Okay. So the scratches, is it? Yeah, so that one is the under armor. Okay, there's that. Okay, so you cannot change the color of the, or at least not easily. You can always go to the to the master material and change the color of everything. It already has enough, more than enough settings. You can change the color of pretty much anything these guys look like. So yeah. Where is it? That's the other one. Let's make it blue. You can change the color of the graphics as well. So yeah. Oh, and even the lights. Green. Woo! Purple, actually. The face has its own type of thing going on, like face. So it has its own settings. Since it's using the same master materials as this thing, it does, as you can see, it does have this thing, the muzzle color. But yeah, you can change the POM, the height ratio, the roughness adjustment. You can adjust the roughness in case you want it shinier to match your guy. So yeah, super cool. Or at least in my opinion. I mean, this by far these are one of the ones I loved the most. And this face only gets better. It only gets better with versions, because here in 4.7 uh, 4.27, excuse me, it does break a little bit, but yeah, I tried to make it as cheap as possible, because I could have used what do you call this thing? I could have used POM. I could have used POM and it would look far better. But I didn't. I wanted the effect to be cheaper, and that's something I didn't mention in the tutorial or show you how to do that. But if you guys are having any trouble with anything, I can make if enough of you guys ask for it, I could make a specific tutorial for certain things. But yeah, really, really, really cool. Anywho, well, that would be the whole thing. That would be the whole the whole, let's say, introduction to this thing. And by the way, like I said, or maybe I didn't say, if your thing gets a little bit too slow, if it gets a little bit too sluggish, because there is, as you can see, all of these guys, well, not all of them, but many of these guys have many of these guys have particles, so it may get a little bit sluggish. And by the way, these particles are in fact, let's see, fire, screw it. They are in fact optimized. It's not like I just slapped a bunch of particles on this thing. They are optimized. They are the spawn count is lowered with distance, so there is a 3,500 units where you can just, they pop out of existence, but slowly. So yeah, you can. They start disappearing at around 3,500, except for those ones, because you can see them from way afar. But again, you can actually just apply those settings to those, and they'll disappear. It's just, I left them just because they are way too visible. So yeah. They tend to disappear. They tend to disappear. But since all of them are here in this thing, there's those, and there's those, and there is that. They kind of do makes everything sluggish and slower, because there's way too many particles. So what you can do is just turn them off, and automatically you already have like half uh, of your frame rate back. Oh, it's not even that. There you go. There you go. All of them. So if you, for example, if it's getting a little bit too slow and you don't need air, that already takes a chunk of your memory. So does fire. If you don't need fire, just make it go away. So metal, apparently. Oh, it's because it has all of them. Yeah, it's the one with the most. Nature. You know, Yeah, so if you don't need all of them, just make them disappear. Make them disappear. And well, that would be all. Thank you very much for supporting me if you are buying my stuff. And if you're not, just share it with your friends and family or any other game developers. If you like this stuff, obviously. If you don't bother. In fact, dislike the video, because if you don't like it, obviously I would like to know. So I don't keep doing what doesn't sell or what people don't like. If you have any comments, leave them down below. I'm going to go make another vlog. I think I want to make another one to address some really cool stuff that I just worked on. And yeah, thank you very much for everything, and I'll see you in the next one.